Hello, all. Dana Dubois here. Welcome to I Write Out Loud, my little corner for creative nonfiction here on Substack. I am delighted to join you this Thursday evening. I usually do this on Wednesdays, but last night I could not. And this is my life where I'm like, why couldn't I do this on Wednesday? I had a conflict. I can't even remember what it was. This is just how my week has been, you guys, but I am thrilled to be here tonight. I'm going to do my thing I always do at the beginning. Well, first of all, we've got to appease the beast. Everybody say hello to Kira. Oops. Damn it. I touched the side of the phone and it freaked out. Everybody say hello to Kira. Sponsored by Nature Naws. Kira's favorite. It's not really sponsored by Nature Naws. This is just my running joke because any day now Substack is supposed to be announcing sponsorships. So, Kira, would you like this? Sit. Show the people how you can sit. Good dog. Can you spin? Good spin. Can we paw? Can I have a paw? Paw? No, she's not feeling that today. It's okay. We'll let her off the hook there. All right, the beast has been fed. Let me come and make sure that we are broadcasting everywhere we're supposed to be going live, because I never quite believe that it's all going to work on StreamYard, but fabulous. Here I am on YouTube where nobody is. But I'll say hello anyways. I always have to check in with all of my channels that are not really that active, but I will one of these days get them activated. Okay. We're live on Facebook. Again, Facebook has been a weird phenomenon because I've been there for so long. I was a very early adopter and I have like 1,600 followers. They're friends. They're all people I know. And it used to be when I would post a story there'd be a whole conversation about it. And now it's dead silent. I just think it's suppressed by Meta, and I find it really depressing. But that is what it is. And last of all, I'm going to go check Substack because I know that it says I'm live. I see it already. I can see there are a bunch of folks in here already, and I will say hello. And then Karen Marie Shelton, you are the first name I see. I'm so glad to see you here today. Hi, MJ. Oh, hi, Nieta. I'm pronouncing your name wrong again. It's like Naita. God, my brain is so foggy today, you guys. It's wonderful to see you again. Hi, Marianne. Hi, S. Michelle. Hi, other Karen. Kenneth, hello. Hello. I see all these names popping in. Yeah, long time no see, Karen. It's been minutes, I think. Vanilla, hello. Ken, hello. It is welcome. Sherilyn, lovely to see you. It just makes me so happy to see all of these hellos. Randall, hello. Yeah, it is. It still amazes me that anybody shows up and reads my work and comes and hears my conversations. And I know that sounds like false modesty, but it is, it just makes me so happy. Oh, Marianne, thank you for saying you love what I'm doing. That makes me really happy. Hi, Julie. Hi, the real Pambo. I like that name. Thank you. I'm having a little bit of a discouraging Substack week. So it is really good to hear all the positive reinforcement and see all of your lovely names popping in and all of your words of encouragement. I just love it. Okay. And even though it is after 5 p.m. here, I'm still drinking the same tea I drink in the morning. I mean, a fresh cup, but it's only the slow, steady drip of caffeine that keeps me going. If I have an espresso, I'll be like, you'll know if I ever drink regular coffee, like espresso drinks before coming on air, because I'll be like, hi, you guys. It won't be a pretty thing. Oh, Sandra, thank you for saying I keep you encouraged. And Karen, yes, I did get my new couch a few weeks ago. And here's a fun fact. I am hosting a party here, a gathering tomorrow evening. I used to do these all the time for the kids, especially in our kind of community of their friends and then the friends' parents who were my friends. And that kind of broke with COVID, and I've never fully picked it back up. But I'm hosting a graduation party for my eldest and her best friend, who both just graduated high school. And it is also celebrating 30 years in Seattle for me and 21 years in my home. So, in fact, I'm going to do a little pan here. COVID broke a lot of stuff. It really did. Oh, Eagle says, your cheery face and voice are very refreshing after my long day that started at 4:30 a.m. I'll hang till I poop out. Oh my gosh, Eagle, that is a long day. I thought my 5:30 alarm, 7 o'clock live was early, but 4:30 is really early. I'm going to scan over here so you can see some party supplies. And I don't know if you can see the Mylar balloons in the corner, the 2026 balloons. And I bought way too many beverages. I haven't gotten any wine yet. I only have like the fizzy drinks for the teenagers and the juice boxes. But it's gonna be a whole thing. There's gonna be a photo booth. I'm gonna break out my little uh, karaoke rocker box. I'm probably gonna sing some Bonnie Tyler. I could sing Total Eclipse of the Heart, but I really think I would prefer to sing It's a Heartache. Do you guys remember that song it's like a late 70s song, I think. Still on in like AM Gold or those like oldie stations, but it's a heartache. Do you remember that song? Nothing but a heartache. I'm cracking. Love until your arms break, and then he lets you down. Anyhow, I may karaoke that maybe even tonight, but tonight I'm probably going to be getting everything set up. I don't know how you can focus with that little face staring at you. Do you mean this little face? Do you mean this little face right here? Hi. I took her to the office with me for my day job for a few hours today, and she actually did a pretty good job of it. She was very cute. So hopefully she's a little tuckered out. We didn't take a walk, but it's like a lot of stimulation. Please get some sleep. Yeah, I need to do that too, Karen. Because you do remember that song? You think I have a beautiful voice? O'Neilla, you're my new best friend. Thank you. I do not have a beautiful voice. I wish I did. I wish I could sing like I can write, but I can't. I don't have a natural affinity for singing, but I love doing it. And I do have a kind of raspy voice. You can probably hear I have old speech therapist in me would say I have a vocal excrescence, I think is the word. Like I have chronically haggard vocal cords. So I can do Bonnie Tyler pretty well. It's a heartache. Her voice was so good because it was so gritty that when she said she was having a total eclipse of her heart, you believed her. You could feel the utter darkness. Like, I know that song is trite at this point, but it is a gorgeous fucking song. She didn't write it. It's Jim Steinman, also rest in peace, who wrote all of Meatloaf's songs. And he wrote that song and found her and was like, you are the one to sing it. Anyhow, thank you for I do like to start these with a bit of chit chat and hellos. And we're going to get into the meat of the show today. And just before we get into sort of so what I'm looking for, the functional things that you do before a show. I don't know, you guys, my vocabulary is tired too. The first one is the Daily Whatever Show will be on tomorrow. It is Friday. We will be having Fucked Up Friday. It will be a little bit late because we have a very special guest. We have God joining us. I don't know if you all follow God on Facebook on Substack or any other social channels. God is good. God is hilarious. I cannot believe God said yes to our humble little show. It was one of those like, I'm just gonna ask. And God Almighty was like, sure, I'll come on your show. But God likes his beauty rest. So we are going to start at noon Pacific, 9 a.m. my time. I am not sad that I'm getting a little extra rest tomorrow. I'm not gonna lie. But we will be here. So please join us for the Daily Whatever Show. It should be a banger of an episode. We will be talking about all the fucked up things that happened in the news this week. And honestly, my fucked up Friday story might be a lot of what we're going to talk about today, about how the United States hates women. And did we get a better example of it this week than the response to Graham Plattner? So we're going to talk about all that. My other pitch I have to do is just to say thank you for being part of I Write Out Loud. If you are not already a subscriber, I would please encourage you to click that little button at the top and click subscribe, follow along with my writing and my podcasting and soon to be announced classes that I'm going to be holding. We're going to talk about that at the end of this episode because I'm going to want some feedback from you. The classes will be available to paid subscribers, as is the Sunday Salon, where we talk about similar topics, but at a bit of a greater depth and at a bit more of a conversational level because it is just for paid subscribers. So it is a smaller audience, and we really have a nice, like a super warm, delightful community building over there. If you are in a place in your life where you can manage paid subscriptions and you would like to support the work I'm doing, I would welcome you as a paid subscriber. It has been a hard week on Substack. I don't know if everyone else is feeling this too, but my usually I get new free subscribers certainly all week, and when I'm lucky, some paid ones come in too. And very little movement this week, in spite of having 2 new stories out. And I'm not sure why. I just feel like sometimes things come and go. But every time I hit a decile in new subscribers, so 20, 30, 40, 50, I do something called a red flag roundup. And hands up in the audience, like put a 1 in there if you have been to a red flag roundup before. They are very, very funny, I think. They are, I pull some instances out of my online dating life, some particularly egregious suitors, and I do some discourse analysis on either what they have in their profile or generally what they write to me. I am 1 new subscriber away from a red flag roundup, and I actually went over the number and then back down. Like everything's been, someone this morning left Substack. That was the user reason was canceled their full account. So I can't take that personally, but I thought I was going to announce today that I would be doing a red flag roundup. And instead I'm going to say, I'm only 1 away. If I get 1 more paid subscriber, I will be coming at you with an extra live with a public red flag roundup. And they are for fun. They are hilarious. They are also, I'd like to think, informative, and they are a big feminist statement. They are me trying to educate, well, people of all genders, but especially women, about the things we shouldn't say okay to online. Even like the things that are super egregious are just funny to laugh at, but the ones that are a lot of people would write back to, I am often giving examples of like, this is why you shouldn't. I'm a big follower of the burnt haystack dating method. It's very aligned with her theories. She has helped me a ton in online dating. So 1 more paid subscriber, maybe it will be you, and then I will do a red flag roundup. They are really, really fun. Oh, thank you for encouraging that everyone repost and hit the hearts to help my algorithm eagle. I just love messages like that. That warms my heart. I appreciate it so much. All right, now let's get into my, feisty feminist world that I'm inhabiting this week. So I think you all know that I post a new essay every Monday. That is on I Read Out Loud. I share a new essay every week. Sometimes a new one that's brand spanking new, sometimes one from my archive that exists out on the internet that I'm bringing into Substack. This week is it's a new one, but it was one that went live on Blue Amp Media a few days ahead. So it went live late last week on Blue Amp, and then I posted it on Monday. And it is called The United States Hates Women, 4 years post Roe. And so this one leans a little bit more into obviously political questions and commentary, and a little bit less into memoir, though there is some memoir in there. Generally, my essays are the flip side of that. They're generally me talking about my lived experience and elevating it to a cultural and political conversation. But some weeks I do the opposite. And this essay was a really long time in coming. Andrew Watkins helped me, like she was the one who said the United States hates women in a note. And I was like, that's really good. And I had worked it into an old essay. And then I was like, I actually think I want to have a whole essay called The United States Hates Women. And it's somewhere up here. Somebody said Andra had a theory. I would love to hear what that is. I can't find it now. Oh, it's Lynn. Lynn L says Andra Watkins has a theory. I would love to hear your theory. Yeah. Um, so yeah, while we're waiting for your theory, I'm going to talk about this essay. And it was going to be my only essay of the week. I typically only share one. But then Graham Plattner happened. And I have been watching Plattner, of course, as we all have. I don't live in Maine. I live in Washington State. I'm on the opposite side of the country. I have no vote in this election, but I have a very deep, abiding wish to see Susan Collins removed and replaced with a progressive Democrat who's going to start undoing the harm that she has done in office. I don't like to only blame the women, like people go to her and they go to Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and they're like, it's all their fault. And it's like, well, because they're the only Republicans who might sometimes shift and kind of have a conscience. But they usually don't. They usually capitulate. And thanks to her capitulation and all the other senators who weren't even wavering in their views on Brett Kavanaugh, we got sick with Brent Kavanaugh, credibly accused rapist. And she even said, like, oh, he promised he won't do anything with Roe v. Wade. Yeah. And then here we are, right? Oh my gosh. So Andra thinks Substack is muting women creators. That's a really interesting theory, Lynn. There's so many factors. I, as a marketer and a writer, I'm always like, oh, how are things going? And I note sometimes things are up or down. But the essay I posted on Monday was not behind the paywall. And I really expected it to go a lot bigger than it did, and it hasn't. It's been pretty quiet. My notes are being really quiet this week, and I feel like some of them should have caught on a bit more. So that's a really interesting theory. I definitely want to hear about that. That would be really dismaying and hard to prove, I think, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'm interested to hear if anyone else, especially any other women, are having this issue, particularly this week. I thought this was going to be a big week for free subscriber growth because I posted this big essay, a brand new one that was ahead of the paywall, and I think it's gotten 4 free subscribers. That's it. And I haven't grown at all this week. So, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so first this essay is up, which we're gonna get into it, and then the news broke about Graham Plattner twice. Both of the items that broke were about sexual assaults, women accusing him of sexual assault, and the second one in particular, it was about his ex-girlfriend accusing him of removing the condom mid-sex, and that is called stealthing. That is a pretty new term. I took an informal poll on my just in my private chat, my notes of who here knows what stealthing is, and about half the people, or maybe a little more than half, did. The rest were like, oh God, I just Googled it. Thank you, Karen. So when that was announced just yesterday, wasn't it? Or was it 2 days ago? Just 2 days ago. I came home from work that night and I was like, get out of my way. And I am a very contemplative essayist. When I write, it tends to take me weeks to actually birth an essay because I'm doing it in stolen moments, and it just takes me a really long time to bring it all together. And I rarely respond in real time to the news. But this one hit me here. And I was like, I have a story to share that relates to this, and I want to write this essay. And so I wrote it, posted it the same night, which I think that's a first on Substack. It is behind the paywall. But I know a lot of you here are paid subscribers, and I think this one is a worthwhile read. This story is about a time when I was stealthed, and I didn't know at the time that that's what it was called. I didn't know that that was the intent. And the reason I shared this as memoir and why I revealed something really personal about myself on the internet is because I knew that people, when they heard her story that was in the Washington Post, would doubt her because that always happens to women. And I knew they would specifically doubt this story because of what it was. It was her boyfriend, right? They were together for a couple of years. She kept going back to him. But she says in this story that he would do this repeatedly. He would take the condom off midway through and finish inside of her, even though she told him not to. So I know this isn't my original essay about the United States hates women, but this is a living, real-time example of the United States hating women. And that's why I wrote the second essay. So I'm going to talk a bit more about this when men have breeder fantasies. Some of them do, Amy, and that could be what this is about. I think some men are simply, especially apparently he was drinking pretty heavily when he was doing this, they simply want to get off and they're not thinking of consequences. And the nuance that this essay gets into here, I'm gonna open my own essay and look at it so that I capture this correctly. Because even though I managed to write it quickly, it was a lot to grapple with. My story happened years ago now, so this is nothing that is active and fresh that I'm still smarting from. I'm trying to even remember what year it was. It was still when I was running my monthly karaoke group, which ended in 2018. 2019. It was before that. Actually, can I just tell this is not in the story, and I usually save this stuff for Sunday Salon, but I have other scoop about this to share there. So I'm going to share one detail I think is really cute. I met this guy. What was the fake name I gave him? Heath. I met Heath online. He was quite handsome and, had lots of other good qualities, blah, blah, blah. And we were chatting back and forth, and I realized that he lived in my neighborhood, which was great. So I'm like, okay, we're close. Seattle traffic can be bad. And I don't even remember all the details, but in talking to him, I told him, oh, my karaoke group is going to be meeting up right by your house because it was really close, like blocks from where he lived. And he was like, oh, that's cool. And, but nothing from that. We hadn't met yet. And I was at one of my favorite karaoke bars. I believe I was singing a Carpenters song, and probably not very well, but I was up there singing, and I look up and he's sitting at the end of the bar. He surprised me and showed up there. And oh my God, we had such chemistry. I don't know if you've ever met anyone where you're just like people in my karaoke group were like, wow, who is that guy? He's like, you two are like magnetic. And I'm like, I know, it's great. So it's a really great meet cute story that doesn't end all that well. That's the second. I've written about another one, but there's a little backstory on Heath. So we meet. It was a kind of a hard time in my life, but I so maybe moved a little more quickly than I should have and didn't quite have the discernment that I should have. But he felt very much like this was going to be my next boyfriend. Like he was a dad. He had 3 teen or tweenage daughters, not far from my kids' ages, and local. And he was an architect. Like he had a creative professional job, and just seemed very into me. And so we ended up like hooking up pretty quickly, and briefly we were dating. And then we get into it was, I don't know, maybe my second or third time at his house. I think I was only there a handful of times round trip, but we're done having sex and look over, and the condom is like on the other side of the bed. And it was not a small bed. I think it was a king size bed, and at least a queen. And in that moment, my brain was like, what just happened? This is somebody very new to you. I've always been very use condoms. And the condom is gone, came off. It's not on. And I can see how far away it is. And my brain does a little math, but my heart and my body are like, no, it's fine. This guy's really into me. It's just a condom slip, right? Like in real time, I am not willing to accept what and to ask the question I should have asked. And the detail that they inserted in here that is not the kindest detail, but we'll just do this. Like, this man was not endowed. And so I also don't want to wound his pride. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, the condom was probably too big. So giving him some grace. And instead of asking him what I should have asked him, like, how did this end up over there? What happened? What did you do? I make a joke and I say that I'm only kind of half kidding about. And I say, I guess we're fluid bonded now, which I think if you're not familiar with that expression, I think it comes out of the ethically non-monogamous community, but it just means we're not using condoms. You know, we're a couple now that we're fluid bonded. There's nobody else. We're just exclusive. Um, so, and I don't remember if or what he responded because too much time has passed. But there definitely was not a like, of course we are. I'm super into you. You're my girlfriend now. That was not the response. And pretty quickly after that, it ended, and he ended it. Not cruelly. He didn't ghost me. He didn't do anything awful. He just said, I can already tell, like, I don't have very like deep enough feelings for you. I don't want this to go any further. And I was sad, but I was like, okay, these things happen. And then the math of it kind of hit me with a like, oh my God, you didn't really know this person, Data, and you had this happen with him. And went and got all the tests and they were fine. Thank goodness. But it was always have to do stuff like that. So everything was fine. But I'm telling this story because I think it speaks a bit to what I know a lot of people are probably doing when they're reading her story. And I want to say her name and I don't want to get it wrong. It is right here. Her name. Oh gosh, why am I not seeing it in this story here? Here it is. Lindsay Fifield. That is the woman who said she dated him from 2013 to 2015 and that he repeatedly removed condoms without her consent, despite, she says, telling him more than once that he needed to wear one because she wasn't on birth control. The article states he would pull condoms off. He would do it in a sneaky way. He wouldn't tell me. And I know people will read this and say, well, why did you keep coming back? You dated him for 2 years. And I am here to say that women make these calculations. I'm sure men do too. I can't speak to men's lived experience, but when you are in a relationship or think you're entering a relationship with someone, there is heart math and mental math that you are doing, and it's not always a linear, clear picture. And so it doesn't excuse what he did, that she didn't immediately leave him. If we left men every time they did something egregious, like nobody would date. And I'm sure there are comparable things that men do to women. I don't want to make it like this is only in one direction. But this is a crime. I mean, this is a sexual assault when it's done intentionally. But it is a crime that makes women doubt the existence of the crime. I still don't 100% know if what happened to me was intentional, right? Okay, it sounds like I need to pause for a moment here. Hang on. I have not looked at the chat. Okay. Adam, it has been lovely having you here. Adam is gone. Sorry, you all. I was monologuing and Karen just texted me and said I had to take care of that. Let me see what it says here. Yes, hi Timothy. We're talking about Graham Plattner. Okay, so please block Adam. Adam is gone. Poof. God, that's satisfying, isn't it? Blammo. So he is blocked. He will not be joining. Oh my God, Heather, I'm seeing what you're writing here. I'm not going to read this out loud, but I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sammy, how skinny are those dudes' peckers that they can just slip off a condom and the woman not know what happened? I'm not really exaggerating. This dude was not his fault. I still had, I still really liked him and had some fun with him and was willing to work with it. But yeah, yeah, it was entirely plausible that it just fell off. But the distance makes it a lot less plausible. And it sounds like, from the way that she is speaking about this in the Washington Post article, that there was not ambiguity, that this happened repeatedly, separate from the rape allegations that were against him. And I also want to say here, I am not a journalist, though I was editor of my high school paper, and I did start on that path when I went to college. But I am adjacent to journalism, and I am adjacent to women who have come forward against a we'll call him a community credibly accused rapist here in Seattle, and NPR did a whole story about him. I've written about this man before. I'm going to have a story coming, a follow-up story about that coming out in the coming weeks, hopefully, if I ever finish it. I think it's going to be for Jane Pratt. Have to get that written though. But what I know about it is that a publication like NPR or the Washington Post will not simply just say, oh, there's a rape allegation. If I just called WAPO and was like, yeah, Graham Plattner, he raped me too, they would not run Dana Dubois says Graham Plattner did this. There is an immense amount of due diligence that has to happen and get cleared by their legal team in order for a publication of in the legacy media that has pockets, deep pockets to sue, for them to come forward with a statement like that. And in this case, I don't have the evidence in front of me, but I believe there were texts and friends who corroborated. There were text messages and emails from the era, conversations with her doctor, maybe. I can't quite remember the details, but these things are corroborated. People will say, like, oh, she's just making it up, as if that people just take women at their word, and they don't. There is a burden of proof before a paper of record will run it. I mean, I could go put it on Substack, so you have to always take the source in mind. Maybe Graham Plattner would sue me if I wrote that. I'm not going to write that, though. I've never had the pleasure of meeting him, thank goodness. But it won't stop public opinion from coming after her. Hard and fast, right? Why is she coming out now? Why is this happening? And when I saw it, I was like, God damn it, why didn't this all come forward before the primaries? And of course, it makes us suspicious about timing. And also, I can't speak to how and why this rolled out the way it did. I wasn't part of the decision. I do believe she was part of the original group that came out to the New York Times. And there were like 4 women who said he assaulted them in the New York Times right before the election, and that didn't stop people. I opened Facebook last night, and algorithm, right? Graham Plattner's page is in my face, video of him talking. I didn't listen to him, but I did click into the comments, and 90+% of them were like, you've been wronged, APAC, just screaming about, we're going to vote for you anyways. You keep fighting this fight. Like, of course, it's his Facebook group, so that's going to be slanted. But the number of people, men and women both, screaming support for this man made my stomach churn. And this is, to me, this is what it means to be a woman in the United States. Kind of always, but right now in particular, when the predator in chief is a credibly accused rapist himself, is a convicted rapist, right? I think they used the R word with Eugene Carroll. Certainly sexual assault, if not rape. We don't believe women. And we don't care. It's still seen as like, whatever, we still need to get our guy in. So we women are still being forced, if he makes it onto the ballot, still, if he doesn't step down, between a belligerent, credibly accused rapist or an incumbent woman who put a credibly accused rapist on the Supreme Court. It's a shitty fucking choice. So that is my story. Stealthing is actually now a crime in Washington state. It is one of, I believe, 3 states. I think Maine might be the other one. Hold on, let me look this up. When I wrote about it last time, I looked this up. Stealthing, where is it illegal? I know it is in Washington state. Okay, in the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Germany, and New Zealand, it is considered illegal. And just as several US states. So let me see here. It's California, Maine, and Washington. Isn't that interesting? It's where I live. It is where Graham Plattner lives. So I believe that these incidences happened in DC. I'm not positive about that though. Also interesting, in case you think this is entirely gendered, tampering with a condom is also a form of stealthing. So like poking holes in it, not letting your partner know. So technically, if a woman wanted to get pregnant and her partner didn't, and she did that, she is stealthing him. I don't think that's the way it's commonly happening, but it is possible. So it is a crime, but only in 3 states. And it's a form of sexual assault. And what I say in this article is a yes with a condom and a yes without a condom are not the same yes. It is not consent. I definitely did not consent to having sex without a condom with that man. So Lindsay, his last name I'm already forgetting because I'm a brain fogged mess. Lindsay Fifield also did not consent to that, to having sex without a condom with Graham Plattner. And he violated that repeatedly. It's not a great look on Lindsay. And also, we've all done, I have done similar things. So I'm here to tell you it is complicated when your feelings are involved and you think you're in a relationship with someone or starting a relationship with someone and you want to assume the best and you want to work through problematic things. It doesn't make it any less egregious. So, yeah, I'm going to come back to the comments because I know I've left you guys hanging. Hopefully there's nobody else being a problem. I don't see any notes about that. So, I'm back up here seeing all the comments from Adam. I don't know how he found me, but I'm glad he's gone. Hi, Chris. On a related subject, CSA is very common. Community supported agriculture. Yeah, child sexual abuse. I know I'm making a bad joke. Yeah, it is very common. And I don't know why you were summoned to court for it, Timothy, but I'm sorry. That sounds unpleasant. And Heather, no, it appears stealthing is not illegal in Illinois. Eagle says, just want to mention a thank you to all of the good guys out there listening to all of us women. We appreciate you very much and need your help and support. Yes. Feminism cannot simply sit with the women. Like we need you. We need you speaking loudly in rooms where we are not. And when we are in a room together with people like Adam, we need men who will help us fight. That work should not fall all to us. So yes, Eagle, thank you for saying that. That is so important. Oh, you were there for jury duty, Timothy. Oh God, I'm glad you weren't selected. That must be so hard. What the fuck is wrong with Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren to endorse him? MJ, I don't know. I don't know. I understand it from Bernie Sanders a bit more. He doesn't have a great history of being a great champion for women or for people of color, really. I have a lot of things I could say about Bernie Sanders. I think he I think he would have been very ill-suited for the role of president, and I think he did immense harm in 2016. And I will never really forgive him for that. And so what he's doing, what he did with forcing Graham Plattner down our throats. Another one in the negative column. Elizabeth Warren is more surprising, but I think I don't know, when you're riding the coattails of a politician and you're excited, and like I get what everyone liked about him. The little I know of him, I wasn't following Maine specifically at such level, but I do know that he's a very charismatic speaker, and he has a whole cult of personality thing going on, like Bernie Sanders has and like Donald Trump has. Like people just are into him, right? Because he's a good speaker. So I get why they were excited about someone who was, very far left and had views they agreed with, who was able to connect with people in Maine. I mean, he won astronomical by astronomical numbers. So I get it. I get why they're excited. So, oh, Amy, I see you're sharing the link to your book here. We should get that. And I'm going to help you with the link. Here's a tip, Amy. You can cut everything off to the B. Do you see how I truncated that? Everything else is just code you don't need on there. So there's your clean link to your book. Take that off there. Oh, and Karen, you're reading it. That's awesome. Yes, and they completely lost the plot, which was not to fuck over women. Right. Don't fuck over women. We're here. I think we're just over half of the population, and we're very tired because the United States hates us. I posted this. I'm going to move to the other story now of the United States hating women. Let me go switch tabs over here and open it. But I posted it to Medium as well as Substack. And a woman commented, I swear to God, the comment was like this long, starting with like, I'm a medical professional, and she's discrediting everything about the rape case. Oh, not the rape case, the abortion case in this story. And I was just like, girl, again, like I am quoting from I forget the news source now, but like a reputable, let me click through here, from propublica.org. Like this is a reputable source. I don't think these details are incorrect. And she's just popping off on a million things, and I'm like, really not the important part of this story. Are you denying that women are being left to bleed out because of draconian abortion laws? That women who want to have babies, have wanted pregnancies, but are miscarrying, are being denied care, and some of them are dying? Is that what you're trying to say to me, strange woman on the internet? Because that is patently false. If I know anything from Fucked Up Friday, is that I've been keeping up with these stories, and they're not happening in great numbers yet, but one is too many. When a woman could get very simple medical treatment when she's clearly miscarrying, and she can have a DNC, and she does not get septic. I'm not a doctor, but I do know that like there's a certain point when it's quite clear that they are losing the baby, and that the risks are too great to the mother's life, and you have a DNC, which is an abortion. But it's a health procedure to take care of a miscarriage so that it doesn't go on to kill the mother in addition to the baby. Arguing medical details with me is absurd. So I'm going to grab this link. I bet Karen's already beaten me to it because she's awesome. Oh, hi, Courtney. I see you're here on YouTube. That makes me so happy. I'm going to put a little thumbs up on mine. It's just the two of us here. I only have like 130 followers, I think, on YouTube, and I really need to get to growing this channel. I'll put a link in. Maybe you guys can all come follow me on YouTube also, because boy, I have too many windows open. Where is my story? There it is. Okay. Oh, you guys, you crashed me. Oh, and I crashed in this very glamorous position. I'm doing like this. Just take a screenshot. I look very fancy. My jawline, it looks good even. Weird. But let me hit refresh. Okay, I'm back. And there is the link. Karen probably put it in there as well. And Courtney, I think right before I hit refresh, You were asking about creating that link. Yeah, there's a code on Amazon that starts with a B, and then it's like a 9-digit code. You can cut off everything after that. Everything else is just like ref tags and stuff. It's like giving the bots information about where the traffic came from. You can pull all that off so it's not such a long, ugly URL. Pro tip. Okay. Oh my God, I froze again. Why do I keep freezing, you guys? I'll hit refresh again. I don't know what's going on, but I will say this: the United States hates women. The memoir part of the story, the part that these parts of the story usually come to me like pff. I say that I don't have a muse because like Lawrence has a non-binary presence who is his muse who shows up and just puts stories in his lap, which I love. I don't get that, but I do get these flashes of memoir that I'm like, that's the hook into a story. And a week or so ago now, I was minding my own business on Substack and I saw that it was the 4th anniversary of Dobbs. It was the 4th anniversary of Roe v. Wade no longer being the law of the land. And poof, memoir. My brain whipped back 4 years and I remembered that 4 years ago on that date, it was the 2 days after my stepmother died unexpectedly. I had to fly back to Florida because she and my dad lived in a house they'd been in for 30 years. And she had a debilitating physical disease, but her brain was fine. And my father at that point could get around pretty well, but he has Alzheimer's. Well, he has dementia, anyways. I don't know if it's really Alzheimer's, but I flew overnight on a red eye with almost no notice and arrived in Florida on no sleep because I cannot sleep on planes. And then slept for an hour at my mom's, promptly got in her Lexus, drove to my dad's, and I'm on the way to his house when I hear the news that Dobbs has passed and Roe v. Wade is no longer the law of the land. And I'm going to take care of my father, who has been a rabid Republican and also a Trump supporter his whole life. And so, as was his wife. And I'm in, a very red state. And I'm fucking furious and freaked out. And also, I have to go help. I have to go do the work. So I go to him, I take care of him. And over those next few days, I find him a memory care and I furnish it and I get him placed and all the things because that's what women do. We simply have to keep going. That's how I spent the first week without Roe v. Wade as the law of the land in our country, in service to someone who, in his own small way, helped make that happen. And how gutting that felt. And then I just been watching, in Trump v2 land, as all of these rights are either being removed or are eroding right in front of us. And time again, when I speak up about it, when he got elected in 2016, I turned to friends and was like, Roe v. Wade is gone. Roe v. Wade is gone. We're going to lose the Supreme Court. This is it. And I was told I was being hysterical. Dana, you're just being hysterical. And I was like, no, I'm not being hysterical. This is what's going to happen. And it did happen. No one ever comes back and says, gosh, Dana, I'm sorry. You were right. And it's not just me, it's all women. No one comes back and acknowledges, wow, you were really right about that. We just keep going. And then the next thing happens, and we're like, our voting rights are at risk. No fault divorce is at risk. Birth control is at risk. And we are told we're being hysterical. Do you really think that that's happening? And it's like, yes, because I can connect the dots because I'm a woman and we women always have to keep an eye out for our safety, whether we're walking down the street at night with, the key tucked in and we're assessing, around corners what things look like, or whether we're looking out ahead in the world to see what's coming politically, what's heading our way. It's pretty clear that things are not looking good. And it's abundantly clear that the United States simply hates women. These 4 years have just proven it time and time again. And so the story kind of it progresses. Hold on one second, guys. I'm getting a text from my daughter asking if she can drop off groceries soon, but not yet. I told her I podcast from 5 to 6, and then she'll forget. But if she shows up with groceries, Kira's gonna go crazy, and that's all the things that are gonna happen. So, oh yeah, you told your dad that we women will lose our rights way before gun rights will ever go away. Absolutely. I've seen no evidence that guns are going anywhere. They murdered all those beautiful babies at Sandy Hook and Uvalde and all the other Parkland. That's where I grew up. Someone I went to high school with, a friend from high school's daughter, was one of the ones who was murdered at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Jamie. And she was lovely. She was a freshman and she was gunned down and murdered. And we've done fucking nothing. So yeah, their guns are fine. Their guns are absolutely fine. So women, not so fine. But we are time and time again, we are told we're being hysterical. Even the Graham Plattner thing. How many of us were like, you guys, this guy seems pretty sus. And it was like, nope, he's our hope. This is it. We've got our hopes pinned on him. And I was like, all right, well, the ones who are doing these things are generally not very good guys. He's going to open his mouth and a bunch of skeletons are going to fly out. And then, sure enough, as soon as he got the nomination, here we are in a stupid fucking position. Given how vulnerable Susan Collins' seat is and should be, we're not going to win it. I'm just going to predict we're not going to get her seat. Because Graham Plattner's people are going to be fucking pissed and they're going to sit this one out. They're not going to take one for the team because Graham Plattner is being an arrogant fucking sociopath and is not saying to them, no matter what happens to me, whomever replaces me, you all need to get behind because it's the right thing to do for Maine and it's the right thing to do for the country. We need to get Susan Collins the hell out of there. I didn't listen to his speech because there's only so much my ears can take. But I was told he never said Susan Collins' name. He talked about his wife a lot and how much support she has for him. He talked about himself a whole lot. And also, yeah, there was no unity behind the true goal that the country is depending on, which is getting Susan Collins the fuck out and getting someone in who is going to champion for Roe v. Wade, or not Roe v. Wade, but for just abortion rights and all the other things. Graham Plattner doesn't give a shit about that. He gives a shit about Graham Plattner and he's butthurt. And that is not a leader. I get it. He has PTSD. That's why he beats women. That's why he drinks too much. Blah, blah. Like, I'm tired of making excuses for mediocre white men who are excused from everything. While the rest of us, the women, the people of color, we can get away with nothing. So, fuck that guy. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he comes out and he's like, look, we picked so-and-so. This is a great candidate. All of my people, I am putting the 120% weight of my support behind this candidate. I want you to all get out there and fight for this candidate and donate and win and blah, 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 blah. I would be shocked if that happens. As equally shocked as I was not when these allegations came out, I would be that shocked if it happens. And the United States will not care because they hate us. This essay kind of progresses through the indignities and it ends with Motherless and Epstein. The fact that we have watched now for years as evidence keeps rolling out about Jeffrey Epstein and all of the Epstein billionaire class men who were on those fucking flight logs. And all of these women who've come forward and talked about the abuse at the highest men in the highest levels of power and wealth in the world. England took out the trash. We've done nothing, nothing, nothing. Just nothing. And until we have different leaders in power, we will continue to do nothing. Maybe even then, but I'm hopeful at least if we get Trump and his people out, then maybe there's a chance that there will be some justice along the way. And Motherless, I think you probably have heard me rant about this already, but this is the website, the sleep porn, what did they call it? Eye test, where they would drug their wives and test their eyes, make sure they were unconscious. And then they would rape them and film it and post it with the right hashtags to build a community on this porn site called Motherless, which that name as a writer, like beautiful, the irony. Yeah, we're motherless, all right. We are motherless. No one's taking care of this. Um, all these allegations came out on CNN. The site went down for a week. They're right back up. Their web host is in the Netherlands. They have an AI agent that's looking out for this stuff, but they admit it's flawed because, of course, it is. And then they rely on their community to report illegal activity. The community of men either committing the crimes or watching the crimes are supposed to self monitor the crimes. I mean, like, I cannot find a single article in the US in a legacy publication of any kind. Since the last ones I can find are the CNN one. I think the CNN one was CNN UK. But I've seen the reports that the site went down. There are none that it's back up. Yeah, I checked, and icheck.org. Thank you for putting it in there. And icheck.org is a site founded by two of the survivors, two of the women who did come forward. And they, one of them, her now ex-husband, I hope, is in prison. The other one, he killed himself before he ever went to trial. But they are refusing to be victims, and they have launched this endicheck.org site and advocacy group to demand justice, to do what the FBI should be doing, which is investigating these men, investigating these companies that are hosting this content. They are culpable. And the men, they have email addresses and user IDs, and it's videos, presumably their faces or some identifying attributes are in them. Go after them. So, Amanda and Zoe, the two women who founded the site, the two survivors, they are on Substack. They have very small accounts, and I think they're pretty quiet. But Zoe wrote a little thank you because Ellie and I and Rachel talked about it on Blue Amp last week, and I've been like, hey, if you ever want to come on, I would love to meet these women. Like, these women are my heroes. These women are the reasons I will write things about, like, I was stealthed, several years ago now, but like this has happened to me too, because I don't want anyone to think that this happens just to other women, which is what happens with rape, with sexual assault. There tends to be this that happens to the wrong kind of women. It would never happen to me, right? And that's simply not true, right? That's why the Me Too movement was so powerful, because we all got to be like, yep, me too. This has happened to me too. And Dominique Pellicotte, the woman in France whose husband was inviting men over for like a decade to violate her, like living proof that the shame, what did she say? The shame does not belong with us women. The shame is on the men. And so she refused to be anonymous. She refused to hide her face. These are heroes. These are all heroes. Marianne is asking, what's the site in the Netherlands? The website, Motherless, it is motherless.com. The last I checked, it was down again. And no, I don't know why. Yeah, it's down. But the in my article, I reference the name of the server in the Netherlands where it's served. It's like ND something. I think the link is here. Let me scroll down and find it. CNN's investigation. I'm finding all of these links. Oh, wait, let me look at the references at the bottom. That's why I put them there. Is that it? No, it's Enforce. Enforce Internet Services. And this, the links are at the bottom, but they're they give all of their transparency statements about we're only the infrastructure, we're not doing anything, and then they have information about the motherless case and the media inquiries. Here, I'll share the links. They're at the bottom of the story. If you just go to references, you'll see the Enforce Internet Services links. They are pretty interesting to dive into and be like, oh, it's all right there. Wow, we have a big chat today. Thank you to everybody who's here. Y'all are making my day. Um, oh my God, MJ, I'm not going to read that out loud either because I don't want to out you with your name. I'm so sorry that that happened to you. Ugh, just every story like this, it just makes me want to. Makes me so angry. I'm so sorry that that happened to you. And hi, Ashley. I see your sweet note. Hello. Um, it is the worst porn in addition to the rape content. I can't even imagine. I really wanted to dig into this story and go looking for these videos. And I was like, I cannot, I'm sure you have to pay and I cannot pay. And also just I'm a little protective of my eyeballs. I cannot, not that I cannot, I do not want to do that. And it's down now, so I can't. Um, so there's that. The chat crashed. Yay. Let me see here. Okay, I'll look. Long story regarding the Netherlands and false memory folks. So I was curious, not casting aspersions, just wanted to know more. Yeah, the links are all on there. You didn't have to pay anything to look, Amy. That's good to know. Yes, the Julia, the Plattner situation we were talking about earlier, and it is bubbling up all the things. If you haven't read it yet, I'm going to put a link to my story about the condom on the other side of the bed. I wrote this 2 nights ago as soon as that Plattner story broke. I do not usually write in real time like that. I am a slow meditative writer, but this one just sort of flew off my fingertips, and it's my personal story kind of matching somewhat what his ex-girlfriend is reporting about him stealthing her. And I'm doing it because I know the first thing that's going to come out of people's mouths is like, well, why did she stay? And I want to give an example of like, because women give our men the benefit of the doubt, and it doesn't make what they did any less egregious. So, phew, these are heavy topics. I have more thoughts and a few more personal anecdotes to share, but I'm going to save those for Sunday Salon. I hope you will all join me. That is at 1 p.m. on Sundays, where I get a little bit more behind the scenes on the stories. I spill a bit more tea, as I like to say, as I always have my tea here. You guys, it's all cold now. Look, I didn't drink any of it because I was talking too much. But that is a paid subscriber benefit. Oh, and speaking of paid subscriber benefits, this I said at the end that I wanted to ask for some feedback. I don't know how many folks are still here. You know, why didn't she go to the ER? Why didn't she report? Why? Um, it was her boyfriend, you know, like I, at the most, I bet she went and bought some morning after pills. She already had them there. Yeah, I wanted to talk about classes. So, one of my paid subscriber benefits that I am looking to launch this month is I want to start doing some. I'm not a teacher, but we could call them mentoring sessions. We could call them classes, trainings, master classes. I'm not sure entirely which name I'll put on them. I have many ideas for things that I feel like I have enough knowledge in that I would like to be available to my paid subscribers for these sessions, workshops. That's a great word. Without leading the conversation, I would love to hear if you have any thoughts to share. Like, what would be interesting to any of you? If you want to share them here, I will have a little read before we sign off. I think I'm going to ask a bit more formally. I may even send out like a paid subscriber survey to just get a read on like what out there would you want to know about. I've noticed that more writers are slowly exhaling. Proud of our survivors. We celebrate you indeed. So here are some thoughts. Actually, I will lead the conversation a little so you all aren't being put on the spot. The first one I might want to host is kind of sort of an open Q&A where people can come in with questions, because I think that will help guide what topics should come up. And then here are some topics and themes that I think might be interesting. One is, um, I think like an all up memoir writing workshop would be interesting. I think a music memoir writing workshop would be interesting since I've written a lot about music, kind of how to take writing about music or a band and to make it more memoir like, and like how to tell your story and not just have it be like this is an album and it was good. If you want to tell stories through music. I'm also interested in teaching about how to take a current event story and make it memoir like, storytelling through the news, because I do an awful lot of that. Like, what makes it your story to put your slant on the news, I think would be interesting. A bit more pragmatically, I like the idea of teaching how to pull data out of Substack and to use AI to help you run reports to find out the state of your writing business. But that's a kind of a 180 from the others, but that's something that I do every month. And it's a bit to wrangle, but it's been helpful in terms of figuring out what to do next. Um, those are the ones that are coming to mind first. And then of course I could also talk about podcasting, growing an audience, I don't know, things like that. So the music one is interesting to you, Cheryl and Rose both say love that. Those all sound really interesting. Oh gosh, thank you for saying I'm your podcast queen, Ashley. Where is my crown? Where did it go? I the podcasting thing, especially, I am winging it, you guys. But I feel like I've learned a thing or two now after this last year and a half. Analytics is my love language. Courtney, maybe we should co-teach that class then, because Substack analytics are not great. You can, if you pull all the reports out and dump them into an AI agent, it can look at things. But at my day job, we do things like weekly, monthly, quarterly business reviews. And so I try to pull the data out and then say, like, write me an executive summary, help me identify like wins and misses, and like what growth trajectory am I on? What should I do more of? What should I do less of? What's working? What's not working? Um, Claude needs a lot of guidance. So it's not like you could just go do it. I mean, maybe you could, some of you, but for me, it takes a lot of steering of that ship. But it's kind of fun once you do it. And I am trying very hard to think of my writing and my podcasting as a business, not a hobby, because this is how I want to be spending my days. And in order to do that, needs to become a business that will grow. So to that end, if you have not already clicked subscribe, I would welcome you to come on as a subscriber to my writing and my podcasting work at I Write Out Loud. If you are able, I would extra welcome you to come on as a paid subscriber. Our Sunday Salon is a wonderful community of paid subscribers to this channel. And as I said, there are trainings to come. Some of that gives you access to all of my essays. Some of them are public and some of them are behind the paywall. So yeah, I would welcome your support. It is all just getting up and it's not just getting up and started, but it's kind of hitting the next wave of growth. And I would love to have you be a part of it. And like I said at the start, if I get one more paid subscriber, I'm going to do my next red flag roundup. And you all, I have such a funny um, online dating story to share. I'm dying to share it. And it is not a nuanced one. It is an egregiously bad one, but I didn't hang up on him because I wanted him to keep talking so I could share it with all of you. I did it for the plot. It's really funny though. So once I hit my next decile, which is coming right up, one more to go, I will host another red flag roundup. I think I'm just going to keep doing them each decile because really every 10 subscribers is a battle, I feel like. And there's good reason. The economy is hard, right? And there's so many creators here to support. So I get it. It is, we cannot support every single writer and podcaster we want to be supporting. But if you would like to support me, I would be very grateful. And one more, and I will be in red flag roundup territory and it will be awesome. So with that, I think I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to do quick shout outs. Noon tomorrow, the Daily Whatever show's Fucked Up Friday is a little later. So it will be at noon tomorrow. we have God joining us. We have such an amazing guest, God, Almighty God. God is good. He's joining us. And he wanted it a little later because God likes his beauty rest. And I am grateful for it. So 9 a.m. my time, noon on the East Coast. Please join Lawrence, me, and God for another episode of Fucked Up Friday. And then please join me Sunday for Sunday Salon. That will be at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. my time. It will be similar topics and themes, but we'll get a level deeper on all of them. And I think we'll talk more about the class thing and maybe talk about dates and like timing that could work. I do struggle with like around my work schedule and my parenting schedule of like, when could I host these? But I want to hear when you all are available as well. So Jesus is not coming, Amy. It's just going to be God. I asked him. And, we're all Jews, so it's fine. We don't need Jesus there. He's not the Messiah. I'm just getting silly. I need to go clean up my house because I have a party I'm throwing here tomorrow. So love you, mean it. Thank you to all 136 of you who joined me here today. That is just wonderful. I love it. I'm very grateful that all of you are here. Hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope to see you tomorrow. I hope to see you Sunday. Bye. Take care. Oh, wait, I got to sign off over here. Still not entirely used to StreamYard, but bye, guys.